and presidential spying scandal in the history of this great country. I'm going to.
And by the way, look at his fingers, look at his face. Look at his fingers, look at his face. Look at my fingers, look at my face. Look at my fingers and look at my face. Look at my fingers and look at my face. Look at his fingers and look at his face. What the fuck is going on? Look at her face and his fingers. That makes more sense. What the fuck is going on? He looked like he was just snorting a pile of burnt tangerine rinds.
Through this slowly, because without a doubt, unequivocally, the Trump campaign, their transition team, even the Trump White House, meaning the president, was spied on by the Clinton campaign.
No, they weren't. Because the Clinton campaign didn't exist after the election, fucko. Also, that's not even alleged in the paper you're going to reference. We've already been through this. We've already seen other people. Like, you now know the lies. You've walked through this. This is our third one so far. And if you're just joining, thanks for being here. Don't forget to give a like and a thumbs up and a subscribe. And if you're on Twitch, please think about subscribing or gifting a subscription if you're already on there. Twitch.tv/HalSparks. It gets us into that hype train category. Thank you, Tony from Ireland and Conpit and Shadow Woman for gifting subs to people. We love you. We thank you. And DW, thank you for the super chat. This is and Victory. Thanks for resubscribing. Yay. We've seen this play out in the Glenn Beck storyline and Trump interviewing him. We've seen Greg Kelly cover this story already, and it's interesting that right out of the gate, the biggest bullshit gish gallop that it comes from Hannity
is far worse than what we have known till now, and we've reported on this now for 3 years. Now, thanks to a brand new filing from the special counsel, John Durham, we now know that the Clinton...
Yeah, I think it's smart to put that in quotes, you know, because it kind of does deserve a couple of little bunny fuck yous. It really does.
Campaign paid a tech firm to infiltrate servers at Trump Tower and then later infiltrate the server.
No, that's not how it works. But I'm enjoying you explaining technology to us. Please say intertubes.
At the Trump White House. In other words, illegally spying on a presidential candidate and later a president of the United States. Their end goal?
No. He wasn't president of the United States when any of this happened, even during the transition, because while he was elected, he had not been sworn in, and therefore he wasn't president until January 20th. Even in a technicality, you're fucking wrong. But also, what's alleged in this happened. Son of a bitch. Is it still in this area, or is it? Did I do public and non-public? In or about early August 2016, Texas called an individual at the internet company thing, and during the call, instructed the individual to task internet company employees to search for any internet data reflecting potential connections or communications between Trump and his associates in Russia. So this allegation isn't that Hillary Clinton directed this dude to do anything. And the information that they found, which, by the way, the executive, they quote some of these, like, I don't know if this is enough. Early on in their, they have, Durham selectively quotes stuff from early in their back and forth. How do we plan against criticism that this is not spoof traffic we're observing? There's no answer to that. This is early on in the communication. This is in August. By the time they'd gotten closer to October, which is when Hillary tweeted out her stuff, they'd gone, oh, we verified some of this. And the other thing is they're like, we found this stuff. The FBI and the CIA can look into this. They have the real ability to look. We can just look at the public and non-public stuff. They have the right and the means and wherewithal to look at the private part of it legally.
Fabricate evidence that President Trump was a Russian asset or a Russian stooge.
It's pronounced asshat, and you got the stooge part right. That's that. Congratulations.
Of some kind, but make no mistake, this is far worse than Watergate. So let's.
Excuse me. The graphic you paid for on Fiverr says bigger than Watergate. Worse than Watergate is Greg Kelly's talking point, and you're going to be in big trouble. See? Stop. Sean Hannity, stop stealing from Greg Kelly. We know you want to be him when you grow up, but it's not going to happen.
through this step by step. Let me refresh many people's memory.
Holy shit. Look down in the corner over here. Coming up, Conway and Manafort. Paul Manafort was on later in this episode. Holy shit. Paul Manafort, who came up with the idea for setting up agents provocateurs in the Euromaidan in Ukraine to give the Russian sock puppet president then of Ukraine a predicate for opening fire on protesters, where like 80 plus died. There were snipers in the buildings, and they had people go out and fire at them, strangely knowing where they were even before they fired a shot, so that those guys could return fire on the crowds and murder people. And you know whose idea that was? That fucking guy. The guy who went to work for Trump for free.
Maybe you don't have a reference point of Watergate.
Yeah, Yanukovych.
The Watergate scandal involved associates that were linked to the 1972 Nixon re-election campaign. These associates, they broke into DNC headquarters at Washington, D.C.'s Watergate office building. They stole campaign documents.
Here's a good idea. Speak slower about the part we already fucking know. How can you tell me that you need to fill time in your opening monologue without telling me you need to fill time in your opening monologue? Short on facts, are we, Sean?
They attempted to bug phones. In the end, 69 people were indicted, 48 people were convicted, and Richard Nixon ended up resigning in disgrace for his part in the cover-up of this. Now, of course, business is conducted a little differently in 1972 versus, 2016 when this all went down. In the age of the internet, you don't need to break into a building to steal your opponent's information. You just need access to their server. And that is exactly what the Clinton.
Well, that's weird. That's all that they got access to his server? Because the one thing you got to admit, Sean, about Hillary Clinton's email server is nobody hacked it. Because the allegations about Hillary Clinton's server was never that the Russians got a hold of stuff or it was hacked and they got stuff that she'd put on there. Nobody got in that fucking thing. The big complaint was they had to get the 30,000 emails she deleted from other sources where they're like, yeah, I'll bring the cake to the wedding. Shit like that. They're like, oh, yeah, I see why you. Nobody's business where you're going to be on a particular date. It's private information at that server. But nobody ever busted it. Nobody ever busted into it and stole anything, did they? No. But they managed to get into Trump's server and then the Trump email server and then the Trump West apartments or wherever the fuck that was. They got into that one all right. It's almost like you helped elect someone who had fucking no awareness of threats and how to deal with them.
Campaign did. But here's where this is even worse than Watergate.
Well, the Watergate had way better graphics. Just saying, the opening of, the All the President's Men, where they're just typing out the title of the, it's brilliant. Uh-oh, that's what you got, Sean. Uh-oh.
Not only did they hack into the opposing campaign and steal material like in the...
Well, they didn't have to hack into it. That would have been private information, and Durham would have alleged that in his filing. What they got was private and was public and non-public information, which was not private and not proprietary and not illegal to take. It was just they were lazy.
It's Watergate,
campaign.
But then they hacked into the office of the president of this great country, according to Durham's blockbuster filing.
Wait a minute. This great country? You mean America was great while Barack Obama was president?
Friday. Now, this is something maybe we would expect from Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, not an American.
Well, no, they would just throw a bag over his head and drag him out of the room.
Campaign. And clearly the Clinton machine was willing to do anything and everything, legal and illegal, to win an election. And when that didn't work.
Well, there's no assertion that they did anything illegal. Nothing. That's why it says public and non-public and not public and private. if it was alleged that they had hacked in and taken private information, it would say so in the indictment. It would have to, because Sussman would be a party to that and delivering information that was taken during a theft, and therefore would be, I guess, moving stolen data, right? Kind of like Rudy Giuliani, if he ever copped to the fact that the Ukraine, the Russian sock puppets in Ukraine that sold him the hard drive that he's pawning off as being Hunter Biden's laptop, that has pictures of underage girls in it, and Rudy Giuliani has made copies of those pictures and disseminated them to people, meaning that Rudy Giuliani is disseminating child porn if you listen to him. That kind of crime.
To then smear and destroy the guy that legitimately won that election. If this filing is accurate, it is all illegal. Everyone.
Well, even if it's accurate, it doesn't allege that the data is false. It doesn't allege that the data is fabricated or fake. Again, you can't leak a lie, Sean. Nope. The argument was, did this guy give this true and genuine information that he found to the FBI on behalf of Hillary Clinton, or just because he's a guy? That's your argument. Did this guy pull the fire alarm because there was a fire, or because he hates fire? We're not arguing there was a fire. It's just an emotional thing.
Should go to jail, just like Watergate, except this is far worse. Don't take my word for it.
Ow.
Take a look at what Nancy Pelosi once had to say after the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee was hacked in a similar fashion by a foreign government, not by Republicans.
Well, no. They were actively hacked. They broke into the server. No one's even alleging that the Trump campaign servers were hacked at all. Because you know, Sean, and I know, that if they had been, the dump would be magnificent.
In 2016, take a look.
Foozle, thank you, by the way, so much for the $20. Says all my right-wing relatives say bigger than Watergate the next time politics comes up. No question. And you can tell them that it's smaller than the Netscape lawsuit.
Terms of the presidential campaign. This is an electronic Watergate. This is an electronic Watergate. This is a break-in. This is a break-in. And I think that we have to recognize...
Yeah, we have to recognize that Sean Hannity knows fuck all about computers.
What is happening here? Now, the Russians broke in. Who did they give the information to? I don't know. Who dumped it? I don't know. But I do know that this is a Watergate-like electronic break-in.
Oh, Nancy's right that Hillary Clinton's campaign was involved in an electronic Watergate. But now...
No, that's not. She's talking about a direct break-in of the server where they went in and got information that was private in the server. Private information. Proprietary private information. Unlike the stuff that's in the Sussman indictment that's public and quote-unquote non-public, which is just, if you want to look a little deeper, it's out there.
By surprise. Nancy is totally, completely, utterly silent about Durham's revelations. So is the Biden administration.
Oh, that's because it's not a revelation. It's a flaming bag of dog shit on the doorstep. And instead of stomping it out, they bring out water and then call the cops and make you clean it, and when you get community service. Yeah.
Now, the executive office of the president was surveilled, but the White House can't be bothered to answer one single question about it. Maybe that's because Biden's national security advisor, that guy right there, Jake Sullivan, he is at the center of this entire scandal. And here's where the story takes yet another turn. Stay with us. After infiltrating the servers at the...
Yeah, stick with me. I know I'm losing you because even I don't understand what's going on. But trust me, just stay outraged. And just trust me that this is outrageous. That's what it is. Just, do that. Just whatever I say, that whenever I raise my voice where it sounds like it's important, then go, can you fucking believe it? And then call someone who will go, yeah, totally. Do not call anyone who doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about, because you won't be able to explain it to them.
Power and the executive office of the president and spying on our
Special counsel, Democrats framed and spied on Trump while he was president. No, that's not the allegation within it. And also, we did this with fucking Russell Brand yesterday. The Federalist doing a story about what somebody else said and then showing us the headline says nothing. You have the indictment papers. Again, yesterday, Russell Brand's reading a Jacobin article instead of the article that the Jacobin article is referencing. Because if you do that, then you have to look at all the information. You got to look at the third paragraph and go, oh, all right, there's actually a lot of temperance in this. It's not as big a deal as you say. But, he doesn't have to go to the Federalist. Fucking say it yourself. You're on the news. Why is this a reference? Why is the headline a reference? I don't know, maybe he puts a quote up. Let's see.
opponent and then the president, the Clinton campaign found no evidence in any form or fashion that Trump was a Russian asset, so they just fabricated.
Well, no, and again, it's pronounced asshat. And secondly, useful idiots, the debate about them being a genuine asshat or just a temporary asshat at certain times. And that's the problem with useful idiots, is that they're inconsistently useful. Sometimes they're just idiots.
All of this out of thin air. Jake Sullivan was a senior policy advisor for Hillary Clinton in 2016, propagated a bogus story about Trump's secret line to Russia. Naturally, Sullivan's wife, just to make it even more interesting, works for the Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland, who oversees the Durham probe. She would need to recuse her.
So did she stop any of it from coming out? Has she slow walked it? Oh, that's why they couldn't use the word private, because she made him not say it. She made him use the phrase not public, public and non-public. You can't say private because why? Well, my husband's your boss. But that's not legal. It doesn't matter. We're running this place like Trump wanted it run. But you can't, I know. And Biden doesn't want you to, I know.
He would need to recuse her immediately. She should have done this on day one. Republicans need to demand that the AG in this case takes her off.
Why wouldn't Bill Barr recuse himself? Because he was appointed by Trump in terms of what qualifies an indictable offense under the special counsel rules with Mueller. Trump gave the dude his job, and that guy told the investigators, you can't go after him. Why didn't he recuse himself? Wow,
Anything involving the Durham investigation immediately. Jake Sullivan, he needs to now answer questions about his role in the Clinton campaign's illicit activities as of now. In other words, what did he know? What did Hillary know? When did they know it? Now, Mitch
well, they know you're an asshole, and they knew it then, they know it now. And they know you don't know what you're talking about. They knew that then. We all know it now. I mean, they don't need me to tell them.
Oh, by the way, where are you in all this? Is spying on a president and presidential candidates, is it okay with everybody in Washington?
Well, if you're spying on Russia and they get caught in the net because they're playing footsie with murderous oligarchs who spray poison in people's faces and jail their opponents, yeah, I'm cool. I mean, they are running to represent us as a country, and I don't think that I'm going to go out on a limb and go that doesn't represent America first.
Think about what we knew before this filing of John Durham and what we've known for.
Well, this story's been out for a long time. Durham's filing isn't anything new, and his assertion, the entire indictment, is based on the idea that that Sussman told the FBI agent that he wasn't working for a particular person. Nowhere in their notes does it say he was ever asked. And also, prove he wasn't there as a private citizen. We're talking about the law here. I think he was. I think he was. Why? Because he was working for Hillary at the time. Yeah, but does that mean he can't come over and go, I have evidence of a crime? No, as a matter of fact, he's legally obligated to do it as a lawyer. Oh.
Long time, and what we spent nearly 3 years investigating right here on this show. We knew about Christopher Steele's debunked, dirty Russian misinformation dossier bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton, and of course,
Well, the Washington Free Beacon paid for it first, and then I guess Ivanka, paid it off, allegedly.
It was funneled through a law firm, Perkins Coie, and Fusion GPS, and they hire Christopher Steele. We told you that story a million
You're gonna need. I think you need either a bulletin board like Glenn Beck has, or a bunch of red push pins on a wall with string going between them.
times. The FBI then used that material as the basis for the Russia witch hunt. And by the way, to do that, the top of a FISA warrant says verified. We now know it's totally debunked. None of it was true. It was all
No, that's not true either. It's not totally debunked. And again, as a matter of fact, the first indictment that he put forward, that Durham put forward, was over a guy who was trying to get them to stop the warrant. He lied on the form to make it less likely that Carter Page's warrant would get renewed. He was trying to help Trump. The first Durham indictment is of a guy trying to help Trump to swamp on his behalf.
verifiable when they found out.
And by the way, for the record, there is no, I don't blame Sean. I don't think it's a lie coming from Sean. I think this is just a blind spot. He's just dumb.
Was unverified. They still continue to use Hillary's dirty Russian dossier. The FISA warrants against the Trump campaign associate, Carter Page. Guess what? They did it all. This is even worse than all of that. According to Andrew McCabe, if there's no dossier, there would...
Also, stop tapping on the desk. And if there's no dossier, there's still this information. There's still DNS lookup data. There's still spikes in activity between Russian phones that are magically in the White House when the transition team from Trump's campaign is there on the grounds.
No FISA warrant granted. Now we know that Hillary Clinton and her campaign was spying on Donald Trump's internet activity. As a matter of fact, the entire Trump Tower, the entire White House, as a candidate.
And they didn't break a sweat doing it. They didn't even have to hack it. It was that poorly handled. Who does security? Bongino, who was looking for TP for his bunghole. Did they have the parlor security team do it?
And by the way, now is president. That too was bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton's attorneys. And when they came up empty, Jake Sullivan was more than happy.
Oh, look, we're back to the Federalist. Russia collusion, hoaxer, Jake. This doesn't sound like it's got a political slant at all. When are they going to stop writing all these tepid, boring NPR headlines over at the Federalist? You know what I mean? Come on, guys. Splash it up a little bit. Live a little. Russia collusion hoaxer Jake Sullivan can't be trusted to evaluate threats after fabricating them for political gain. Well, clearly he knows how to win. I mean, if you're dealing with somebody like Vladimir Putin, if you could fabricate threats that allow you to beat him at his own game, I mean, arguably, that's exactly who you want in there. You don't want the dude who lost because he had his ass kicked by an old guy with a stutter and 8 black volunteers in Georgia. Right? Because honestly, that's what it boiled down to. Who beat Donald Trump? They didn't find any panda shit in the ballots in Arizona.
Disseminate unverified rumors and conspiracy theories as fact.
Yep.
In other words,
told you, Tobias, by the way, same thing. Yeah, they're all just repeating the same shit. And in almost the same order.
President Trump, he was right the whole time. This might remind you.
So the biggest scandal
Jesus Christ, they're all playing the fucking same clip.
was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
There's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is. It's all
No.
over the place. Leslie,
Sir.
they spied on my campaign and they got
Can
caught.
I say something?
They so did. Leslie, you're such a witch. They did. They spied on his campaign.
No, this is 60 Minutes. And
It
we
is.
can't put on.
Give him, yes, it's 60 minutes. You get one, he gets 59. That's how it works.
Things we can't
No, you won't
verify.
put it on because it's
They
bad for
spied
Biden.
us
Can't
everywhere.
put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Yes,
verify.
just look, go down and look at any headline on the fake news and you'll know it's true.
Totally verified.
No.
Look, the press is the enemy of the people, except when it says what we wanted to say. Oh my
It's been, just go down and get the papers.
Just
They
get the
spied
paper, the lying papers. Get any of them. It doesn't even fucking
my campaign.
matter.
They got
okay?
caught.
No.
And then
They
they went
got
much
caught.
further than that, and they got caught.
They did. They went further. They shot him in the neck with a dart, and then they tied him to a chair and tried to split him in half with a laser with sharks in a tank like it's Blofeld.
And you will see that, Leslie. And you know that,
You'll
but you
see
just
it.
don't want to put it
No.
on the air.
As a matter of fact, I don't know that.
Okay.
It's not true.
Leslie, now you do. So now you can go on 6.
By the way, that's the same exact shit Greg Kelly did and Glenn Beck did. Same reference. Now you do, Leslie. That whole thing. By the way, Sean, no, she fucking well doesn't. Unless, Sean, let me go on a little thought experiment since we're getting near the end of the show and I've gone long and I appreciate you sticking around with me. I know you've got a date with an orange rind. Maybe. See, let me show you what this says at the top. See this phrase right here? That's an indictment. Does an indictment mean you're guilty or innocent? Sean Hannity. Would it be America? Would it be the United States of America if simply being indicted was enough to make you guilty in a court of law? Is that the America that you're arguing for? Because if you are, I look forward to the indictments coming down in Georgia and the Southern District of New York about Donald Trump's finances. Because the second he's indicted, I'm sure you will line up right behind this and go, this means he's guilty. I personally happen to love my country. One of the big reasons is because you're innocent until proven guilty, and that an indictment is not a death sentence. It's not an automatic guilt assessment of guilt. You get a chance. You get your day in court. You get due process. But Sean apparently wants to make the argument that we can do away with due process because Durham indicted a guy not for lying about the information he gave to the FBI, but why he was giving it. There is nothing in this that alleges the data is fabricated, that the DNS lookups or any of it in there didn't happen. They absolutely did. Durham knows this. What Durham is going after is allegedly the guy saying, I'm not working for Hillary as I'm telling you this, which is baseline he said, she said at a certain point because it's not in the interviewer's notes. This story's been around for a long time. But think about what Sean Hannity is asking from you. Now you know because Durham, a guy appointed by the guy who was losing on his way out the door, appointed a guy to look into this stuff. And because the current administration is not interfering with a special prosecutor and letting them do whatever the fuck they want, this guy is filing indictments, and these indictments aren't doing shit. But ultimately, you get your day in court unless you live in Sean Hannity's America, in which case the simple filing of an indictment is enough to make you guilty. Adorable.
Minutes on Sunday and issue an apology. We'll be waiting for that.
Yeah, do me a favor. Hold your breath. I don't want you to harm yourself, but maybe if your face turns blue, it'll offset the orange and you'll look kind of a human color.
I doubt they even cover the story. And by the way, the same goes for fake news.
Yeah, there is one small issue, Sean. It's not a story.
CNN, they spent 3 years lying to the American people. MSDNC, by the way, probably a very convenient time for the conspiracy.
By the way, they covered it, and they pointed out that it's bullshit, just like I did, because I actually read the fucking thing. Sean, hold up your well-leafed, highlighted copy of it. Just pretend you fucking read it.
Of all time, Rachel Maddow, to be on, quote, leave. You know what? They gave.
Well, she's making a movie based on her Bagman podcast and taking a break, and she's still making as much as you are, even with a 2-month hiatus. Oh, gotta hurt. Imagine if you were as meaningful to the network as she is to hers. It's gotta hurt. It's gotta suck.
More time to this than any other story. 3 years of the Trump presidency. And you'd think they would spend a
Yeah, and this doesn't change any of it. Nothing.
And inform their viewers that they were wrong the entire time and up.
They weren't. They weren't. Why would they do that? Because it's not true. It's silliness. I mean, I know you're asserting this. Please go on.
Them on this new development. Where's Bob Woodward? Where's Bernstein? Carl Bernstein. Anyway, remember they once cared about, quote, journalism through their top secret source, Deep Throat. They broke the Watergate story wide open. Now they are nowhere to be found, and apparently.
Well, no, he wrote, Woodward wrote a book, and Trump admitted to downplaying the pandemic in the beginning because he didn't want it to affect the numbers, and he took joy in it because he wanted to finish his trade deal with China, who he later believed attacked us with a bioweapon. Now, tell me something about Chamberlain again.
You know, for them, politics is much more important than, quote, journalism. Now, the reason the media will ignore this story that is bigger than Watergate is because they are.
Because it isn't? No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt at that point. It was just his hands were bugging me.
Reason the media will ignore this story that is bigger than Watergate is because they are accomplices the entire time. They have lied the entire.
So you're not an accomplice in this cover-up? Because that's effectively what Durham is doing. Durham is trying to use the fact that the guy worked for the law firm that the Hillary Clinton campaign hired to as a smokescreen to cover the actual data that's in there. Yeah, I noticed. At no point in this do you refute any of the data that's put forward. That would be media malpractice. You do a whole story about this indictment and go, and never once mention the fact that they're not questioning the data the guy brought in at all.
Time. They advanced their propaganda almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they did it for.
Yeah, they. By the way, that's because they do Dateline NBC on starting Friday after the 11th hour. And thank God, because who of us? What's more comforting to doze off to on a Friday night than a bunch of true crime shows?
For 3 years, they knew and they know the dossier was a lie, but their hatred of Donald Trump was more important than the truth.
No. Most of them just didn't like him or thought he was gross, and then they saw the evidence against him, and then that's how they grew to hate him, because they love their country more than likely. And also, no, the dossier is not fake. It has not been debunked. Fuck off.
They have never set the record straight. They never made a correction. They never admitted that they were wrong.
Because they don't have to, they shouldn't, and they're not.
Times, the Washington Post, they got Pulitzer.
Oh, shit. Not the Post. Washington Post, New York Times should give back their Pulitzers for Russia-Trump report. That's the Post editorial board. By the way, who wrote that? Trump? Because Trump says that all the time. Hold on. Oh, now I got to look this up, don't I? Get back over here. New York Post editorial, Pulitzers, Russia / Trump. That should bring it up, I think, right? Yeah, there you go. The Post editorial board wrote this. Who owns the Post? By the way, pay no attention to the fact that the New York Post competes with these two papers. It's not a factor at all. With the entire Russiagate exposed as a Clinton campaign fabrication, this the story. After a Team Clinton scheme to make her email scandal look tame by comparison, and so win the 2016 election. Well, then why didn't they use it? And that's it? Well, that's the end of it. That's the whole thing. There's a picture, 1, 2, 3. And this is, by the way, the latest filing. Don't give a link to it, dude. Because it's... Oh, it goes to the... Okay, Rep. Jordan. Oh, it doesn't even go to the filing. It goes to Jim Jordan saying what it says. Please show a link to it. Blockbuster new federal filing. Let's see it. Open link in new tab. Clinton campaign page. Fucking hell, it just goes to another story. Okay. Lawyers pleaded not guilty to the charge, right? But that means he's guilty. If he had any decency, he would, obviously just, admit that an indictment is as good as being found guilty and just move on. And assembled and conveyed application on behalf of them. Yes. Had assembled and conveyed the allegations to the FBI on behalf of two specific, these people and the Clinton campaign. That's what he alleged. Record showed he repeatedly billed them for his work on the Russia bank one. No, it doesn't. It says that he met with them and then he went to the FBI. This is what this is alleged. Records allegedly showed, according to the indictment. And they don't even do that. In it, the indictment itself says that he billed them for a meeting about the white paper or the classified thing. And then he went to the FBI on a couple of occasions at the same day, which he billed them for a phone call, which is, I'm going to the FBI today. I got to give them this shit. Okay, well, if you have to, yeah, I do. Get a lawyer. They'll bill you for that. They called you to give you the heads up because they're doing that. You're going to get a bill. And by the way, you know who knows that? Client number 3.
For false stories. Maggie, it's time to return it. And by the way, what about the congenital liar Adam Schiff? He sits on
I think that's supposed to be a picture of Sarah Palin.
January 6th committee, and they said campaign rhetoric and talk about elections has brought us to this point. Okay, Adam Schiff, or whatever we want to call you, the congenital liar. If you
as opposed to Trump, who's just a genital liar, if you ask Stormy.
really care about election interference, is it okay when Hillary Clinton does it? Because Adam Schiff on that January 6th committee is the biggest purveyor of election fraud lies ever. He's going to be critical of Donald Trump. We need an investigation into him. And thankfully,
Why? Oh, based on, Durham indicts a guy for not saying he was working for Clinton when he gave true information to the FBI and the CIA about Russian collusion between Trump and at the Alpha Bank server and people working, I guess, at Betsy DeVos's healthcare company, where they were also getting email messages as a back channel to Russia. All that part's true. It's just the fact that this guy didn't say he was working for the Hillary campaign when he came in there, and because it was immaterial that he was working for the Hillary campaign, because he was effectively reporting a crime to the authorities.
doesn't take orders from Schiff or fake news CNN or anyone else in the media.
Yeah, it's weird. The Biden administration has just let him do whatever he wants to do. It's almost as if they know that he's full of shit and they're not worried about it. It's been met with a collective yawn, Sean.
Mob. John Durham.
Yawn Hannity. I don't know why we haven't. Why did it take us so long to discover Yawn Hannity?
He's been taken forever. but he's supposedly looking for the truth, and he's given us a window into what he's finding. And to that end,
Yes, it's a window into what he's finding. You know what he didn't find? Hold on. I know what Durham didn't find. This is going to be shocking. This is something, and I don't even know, maybe the Biden administration just won't let him look into this. You think there might be a reason why Durham dropped this on Friday? Why they took about 4 days, 5 days, and went, oh shit. Put it out. You think? Maybe. You think maybe there's a you don't think that maybe an indictment, I mean, believe me, if they bust the guy and he admits under oath or starts to cooperate and says, yeah, I made up all the numbers. I created the charts myself. Those are fake DNS things. I got them all from Mike Lindell. I got all my fake data from Mike Lindell's bullshit attempted hack of servers on the night of the election, right? That would be a story, and I would not fault Sean Hannity or anybody at Fox News running with it all fucking day. But do you think there might be a reason why they're taking this indictment, which asserts nothing that's meaningful? And by the way, even the lying about working for Hillary Clinton part, which is not, I mean, he's pled innocent to it. There are no contemporaneous notes from the FBI agent that bear this out, but. Have them go to court. It's going to get thrown out this week or probably next week, depending on their timing of it. But you think the timing of talking about an indictment that hasn't gone anywhere? This hasn't amounted to shit. This would be the equivalent of the National Archives are looking for 15 boxes. Does Trump have them? You notice how Rachel Maddow didn't do any shows about. Someone's alleging that Trump has 15 boxes of stuff. They all waited until they negotiated with him and brought this shit back. Hold on one second. Right? This is an actual story. 15 boxes took top secret documents to a fucking golf club. I mean, and again, what kind of top secret are we talking about? Are we talking about a knock list? Are we talking about like sub-tech? Are we talking about our strategic plans for pushing back on China or Russia? Where, what spies we have in Kazakhstan? Where our satellites point? What kind of stuff? PDBs, stacks of them? Internal documents about how our entire intelligence community works that could get people killed? We already know he got an Israeli agent killed, allegedly, by, loose-lipping it around Lavrov. Yeah, was he just going to, what were they for? Leverage his way out of his debts? Interestingly enough, these boxes get found. They negotiate to get them. He's not turned them over. They took months to give them back. I guess so they could photocopy shit. Right? That'd be the, while we're playing this game, Sean, right? You got all these things in your possession. Why wouldn't you photocopy them while you're giving them, I mean, it says legally you have to give all the copies that you have, but that only pertains to the ones they know you have, right? This is a genuine story. This is fucked up. Do you think this might be why Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck and Greg Kelly and all these assholes are telling the exact same story in the exact same order with the same allegations on this fart air bullshit story that's going to fade in a week? I'm telling you, because they're hoping that this story dies. That some of the stuff is so top secret, nobody will even be able to tell us what was involved. Like, was it submarine tech? Was it our plans to protect Taiwan? Has anybody checked the toilets at Mar-a-Lago? Dear God, I feel so bad for these people.
To FoxNews.com, his probe is accelerating.
Yes, this is a sign of good journalism. Cite your own place of business. You know, as Hal Sparks said earlier this evening, why don't I just fucking throw up my own, you know, as Ficus referred to, I should have my own characters tell, like,
More people are cooperating and testifying before a grand jury. I can't predict what
I can't predict any of it, but I can make a stupid graphic and hope it means something.
will ultimately find. Nobody's been held accountable for the lies they made to the FISA court, that we know they made lies. They knew they were lying.
Oh, you mean the ones that helped Carter Page?
But I do know that as of now, all roads lead back to one person and one campaign. That's Hillary Clinton and her campaign.
Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Oh.
I hope one day very soon, her campaign will be held accountable for the worst political spying scandal in the history of this country. That's how important it is. Hey, Sean Hannity.
Yeah, except they would have to, at some point now, she would have to form a committee. For that to happen, Hillary Clinton would have to run for president again, and then commit the biggest, any spying scandal, but the biggest one ever. Because that's the only way that happens, because it hasn't happened yet. But